I'd like to give the first trophy to Mr. Calvin Collins for 20 years of service in District 2.
Good afternoon, and I ask you to excuse my appearance and that I have to sit through this meeting, but it's God's will that I am where I am today. But with God's grace, I'm going to rise and come up again. I'd like to say a few things while I'm sitting up here. Just bear with me. Good evening. First, giving God all the honor and praises for this day, which is the head of my life. I would like to thank my wife, family, relatives, and friends and staff for their prayers and support on my police jury. Police jury is not an easy career. You're going to meet people of different walk of life. You're going to meet some that's not so nice and some that's nice. I'm going to tell you a little story about one man that I was coming to in the LeBlue settlement. It took me a little while, people, because I'm sitting down, and once I start, it's kind of hard to stop. But to make a long story short, my wife and I was campaigning up in the Blue Settlement, which was my first police jury career. People, I didn't know what I got myself into. I really didn't know whether this was a charity organization or whether it was paying, which I didn't question. But then, down the line, I knew I wanted to help people out. And I love people. And, well, I'll tell you, it's surprising to y'all to understand that the best job that I ever had was working at a service station when I left Big Mamu, making 50 cents an hour, came to Lake Charles, started making 75 cents an hour. I was stepping hard. And after I left the station, well, I had people come by and ask me, they said, "Man, why don't you run for city council?" I said, "Man, I can't run for city council. I'm not ready." But I didn't know where to get back to this guy. As me and my wife was walking down the street campaigning, which both of us were walking in the dark. Really didn't know where we was going, what we was really after. People was telling you they was going to help you, but when that time came, there was nowhere in sight to be found. So my wife and I was coming down in the Blue Settlement, and I look over a hill. There was a big old dog. Is that Dr. Mackey over there? Okay, about Dr. Mackey's hike. And my wife was coming to the dog, and I decided I was going to try to get across to her. But by the time I got to my wife, he and my wife was waltzing, dancing. My wife, they was face to face. My wife was so scared, she said, "Calvin, if I'd had a bad heart, I was gone." But I said, "Thank Jesus Christ that he was there with you." Then another place, I went a little further, guy told me, I kept watching this guy, and he says, he stepped from out his garage, walk all the way to the street. So I said, "Man, I got a problem here." So I told my wife, "Let's cheer each side." Walk up to the man, and he says, "I don't believe in politics, in politician." I said, "Well, sir, I'm not a politician." I said, "I'm a servant of the Lord trying to help somebody to know somebody." And so we started talking. So that man kept me at his house for about 45 minutes. He even offered me to go in his house, drink coffee. And after I left this guy here, I'm going to run a little faster now. I got real portion in in the Moss Bluff area. So, man, the people come to me, they told me, said, Calvin, man, they're trying to get rid of your district. I said, how's that? He said, man, you know, all them clams they got in the Moss Bluff, he said, you better get out of there before the sun goes down. I said, you better get out of there before the sun goes down. Then I only had my wife and my oldest grandson.
Okay, Calvin.
And I said, Lord, I said, you put me in this, you're going to have to protect me. And believe me or not, man, I made a lot of friends in the Blue, in Moss Bluff, in the city of Lake Charles, you name it, everywhere I went, the good Lord blessed me that I was able to meet a lot of good people. I'm going to try to catch back on my notes. I met a lot of people while working for the people, making it a better place to live and a better place to work and a better community, better roads, better drains, better school, better playground, parks, better police protection. Now, all these things didn't happen all by myself. I had the help of God, fellow jurors, and staff. We have to work together to make things happen. You have to think out of the box. And my wife actually said, what are you talking about, out of the box? I said, when you go out there, you're working for the people. I don't have to just look for my district, which is District 2, but I said I need to look at if Hal's district needs service more than I do, we need to work together to get it done. Because I said we all serve the same people. And we have a good work together to make things happen. But you have to think out of the box. Not just my district. Have to work with others to serve the parish, city, school, police, and state. We all work together to serve the same people. We have jobs to do, so let's do it, and let's get it done. Juror, you have the help you need. You have Brian and staff. Anytime I have problem, I'll call Tim, I'll call Alan, call Wes, I might miss a name somewhere, and I'll even call Sandy. And then I'll call Brian, and also our lawyer. And I also call Terry back there. But now I have a big buddy right in here somewhere when I have recreation problem. Shit, I call on him. He doesn't talk that much, he's slow. But anyway, we get it done. My buddy Dean back there. And right now, people, you can see the work that we have done in Moss Bluff and the Blue area where I've come from. But again, I haven't done it alone. It's by God's grace and help. I'm going to miss all you people, good people. I'm wishing you all a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and may God bless you all, and hope to see you very soon. God bless you.
I've been sitting next to you I've been here 14 years and been sitting next to you, and just it's been a pleasure to know you, and I remember you back in I don't know what year it was, maybe 1980, maybe it was in the early 90s when you came and walked in my place of business and bought a Dixon lawnmower.
Yeah, I bought a 99 Dixon lawnmower.
A 99, okay.
I still have it at my house.
He's still using it. But I remember that. That's when I first got to meet you. But I just, again, I know you walk, and I know what you stand for, and I just, again, I just love you and been praying for you, and gonna miss you when you leave here. I've enjoyed
Same here.
working with you.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Mr. Calvin, you know how I feel about you, and you and I, you always like my big brother up here, and I call Miss Lou. That's my mama right there. Miss Lou know I love her. And my wife and I, Michelle, we was going to a conference. It was in New Orleans, and I think a lot of you are gonna remember this. It's when we had the ice storm. And they closed the bridge down, and it took us 7 hours to get to New Orleans. Mr. Calvin and Miss Lou was following me, and I have a tendency to drive fast to get where I'm going. So when I was driving, and my wife, Michelle, said, baby, I don't see Mr. Calvin lights. You need to slow up. So I slowed up and caught up with Mr. Calvin and Miss Lou. I said, Mr. Calvin, I said, you and Lou want to ride with me and Michelle? And I said, we'll park your car somewhere and we'll come back and get on our way back. Mr. Calvin told me, I'm driving my truck. I said, okay, Mr. Calvin. So we get going up a little ways, boy, and I see some distance where we can make some time up. I see Mr. Calvin lights disappear. I slow up, come back, catch up with him. I say, Mr. Calvin, I say, it's getting kind of dark. I say, you know, we can get there if you just let me get us there and we'll park your truck. Mr. Calvin said, Brother Kevin, I'm not gonna tell you again, I'm driving my truck. And Mr. Calvin, did I not let you drive your truck? And I just wanna say, Mr. Calvin, say what you want about him, but this man has got a heart of gold. And for those of you that don't know that haven't met him or had the chance to visit with him, you're not gonna meet a better person. And I hope that I can model my life in the way that this man has modeled his. I love you and Miss Lou both, Mr. Calvin. I love y'all.
Calvin, I've sat next to you for 8 of the 12 years that I've been here. I always looked up to you. You've always been a man of God, and always came in with just a perfect smile on your face. Never had a bad thing to say about anybody that I've ever heard. And I just appreciate all your leadership that you've given this parish over the years that you've been here.
It's been a pleasure, especially meeting you and Miss Lou, and we've went to several places together when we'd go on our functions. It's just been a pleasure, and I have to say you've definitely showed me what it is to be a better police juror, which I'll tell you, every time I called Mr. Calvin, doesn't matter, every single time he was on top of a roof fixing something. So I have to say, I hope that I get around as well as you did for all these years. And anytime he went somewhere, she actually called me, or I called him a while back, and there was a tree down. He was going out there with his chainsaw for him to do it himself. Every time there's a flood, you go out there with the shovel. And I said, Mr. Collins, call Public Works. You don't have to go out there. You just can go there, see what needs to be done. I said, no, I like to take care of it, see what I need to do. If I can do it, I'll do it. So I really want to say thank you for all the hard work you've done, and you showed me how to be a better person. I thank you very much.
You know, you talk about Mr. Collins. That's the most you ever heard him say, but I'm going to tell you, here was his motto: actions speak louder than words. That's what he would always say. And that's true. He would make things happen. And I can tell you, he's one of a kind. And I know y'all, Lou knows, she's a lucky woman. And his kids are lucky to have a good dad. But he's very hardworking. And I tell you one thing I think about Calvin, you're right. He'd be on a roof and doing all that stuff. I mean, he's got a few years on me, and he's doing stuff. There's no way I would get up there and do that. But we would get these cases where were they going to do the condemnation. And Calvin would look at that, and I mean, the place is falling down to all of us. Calvin looked, but it isn't that bad. He said, you could fix that. I mean, and he always, and more than one time, he would go to the people's house. He wasn't even be in his district, and tell them, look, this is all you got to, it's not that bad. You can just do this or do that and fix it. And he knew how to do stuff like that. He would work on his houses and all that, and he helped a lot of people in that way, and really saved a lot of structures that probably were going to be torn down. We would have condemned it had he not stepped in and helped them out and showed them what they needed to do to get it done. But Calvin's done a lot of stuff. We've done some business together. He was always in my store and always working on something, and got to know him. I know he was a barber for years and cut hair, did that on the side. I tell you, he's a jack of all trades, and really he's a master of all the trades. He can do anything, plumbing, roofing, worked at the plants for years, and a great public servant as well. And I know the most important thing, he was a great husband and a great father. And we appreciate you, Calvin. We're going to miss you.
I'm not going to repeat what everybody said, because everything that they said is all true. But I want to thank Calvin for caring about not people he don't even know he prays for. I had a time in my life when I didn't know what was really going on when they went to MD Anderson and they said the word, the C-A-N-C-E-R. Well, everybody, when they hear that word, it sets you back. It set me back. But the person that called me on the phone and just started praying was Brother, I call him Brother Collins because he's like a preacher to me. But Brother Collins called me and he prayed for me. I knew at that point that I had God on my side and I had Calvin on my side. So we won the fight, didn't we? We fought the fight and we won the fight, but with people just like you and honorable men like you that have served on this police jury. So thank you, Calvin. We love you and wish you all the best.
Here's the one thing I know about Calvin. When you're on the police jury, sometimes you have to work together. He said it earlier. You have to, sometimes to get 8 votes, you have to lobby your other jurors. If Calvin told you he was going to vote with you, you could count on that vote. He's a man of his word, a man of integrity, and I've been honored to, and a tremendous police juror, been honored to serve with you. Mr. Calvin, thank you for all you've done. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Mr. Calvin, you supported me every time for everything, and I want to thank you, and I supported you, and I tell you, when I would call you sometime and I wanted to just scream, you would always tell me, pray, and that will always stay with me. Thank you, Mr. Calvin. I will always love you, always.